All right, guys, it's time for one of those videos where I sit down and talk about a topic because I think it's important and I want to cover it. And the gameplay you're going to be seeing on screen is me playing Ramatra in quick play because obviously he's not in ranked. Please give me the character in ranked, even though he's trash. I got the gold weapon for him. I want to play him. Let's get on to what this video is actually about. A couple of days ago, Overwatch released this picture on Twitter regarding the start of season's competitive play, right? And in this picture, they covered 3 points that I'm going to attack individually and talk about how that affects the state of the competitive play at the beginning of the season. At first, they said, at the end of every season, your final rank will be based on any matches played since your last rank update. End of season competitive rewards are based on your final rank. Basically meaning, let's say you're a top 500 player. Obviously, I'm not. Hopefully one day. You're a top 500 player, and you were like towards the tail end of top 500, like the bottom side of it. And you were in there, but you kept playing games, obviously, and you had like 4 wins, but you don't know how many losses you had. And your MMR in the back end was being changed. It's being shifted while you're still playing. The season ends, and it says top 500, but then it takes into account all of those extra games you played, and it gives you a new final rank that you don't see. But then you log back in and you see that you did not get your top 500 rewards because you were not actually top 500 in the underlying MMR. And first of all, that's fucking terrible. You should never visually show something to someone that they're not going to earn because something in the back end that they have no idea is happening is affecting them. And that is terrible. I can imagine if I was a top 500 player and that happened to me, I'd be click-clacking on my keyboard right now going off on Twitter. No one's gonna see it, no one's gonna reply to it, but I would be going off. So that's already terrible. Next thing is when a season begins, we apply some rank decay all roles, and over the course of the season, players should climb back to the ranks that represent their true skill level. That being said, all matchmaking games will still be based on your underlying MMR, ensuring we're making matches as fair as possible. Point number 2, this is also fucking stupid. If you're gonna rank decay someone, you rank decay the underlying MMR, and you create a gap where they can play games, and if they're playing well in those games, you boost their MMR fast to get them back to their the rank that they should be in. Because what they're doing with this system is, let's say you're diamond and you get pushed to plat. Let's say you're D5 and you get pushed to plat 5 because the rank decayed you 5 rank. Then you get back and you start playing your rank game. Do it for a game. You're not playing against a plat 5. You're playing against a diamond 5 because that's where your MMR is. But you're visually seeing a plat 5. And in your head, you're like, why is this game as hard as it was when I was in Diamond 5, but I'm queuing, my rank says I'm Plat 5. I should not be playing against these harder ranks in these lower rank, like visual lower ranks. You should never create a discrepancy between your underlying MMR and your visual MMR, because that creates like confusion in your player base, right? If I'm in a master's level rank, but I'm visually being shown a diamond level rank, but my games are just as hard as they were when I was in masters, and because they're hard, it's difficult for me to climb. And you still will climb, obviously, right? Because if it's visually showing you diamond, but you're playing at a master's level MMR and you're still doing well and going, let's say 50-50 or something, it'll slowly push your rank back up, right? Because that's just how it would work. But that time of frustration you're going through as a player is all because they wanted to create visual discrepancies between their rank, and I think that that's so stupid. It's so unnecessary, right? Valorant is a perfect example. Valorant, at the end of every hard season, like full season, three acts resets like the episode, you get a hard rank reset where it drops you down. You got to replay your rank games, and it takes into account your previous ranks as a way to like build your opponents and get you into those rank placement matches, right? But in between each episode, they don't hard reset your rank. They basically just say, here, play one game and you get your rank back updated, and it basically gives you the rank that you have, or maybe a little bit better depending on how you perform in that one game. There's no reason to create weird rank decay. Either create a hard rank reset or don't reset it at all. Like, don't do this weird, we're going to decay you, but your underlying MMR is going to be the same. Makes no sense. It's so stupid, right? And this just comes from their third point. It says, we understand that we need to do a better job making these systems more understandable, and we will address these issues in other parts of the system in the future. Blizzard is horrible at like their marketing, their communications with the players, understanding the actual player base and the issues with competitive play. They're terrible at it. The original Overwatch 1 rank system, in my opinion, was great. It was fine. It was just a hard number that went up and down, and there was no issue with that. Why are you creating this necessary to play 7 games or win 7 games to get an updated rank, or 20 losses or ties? Like, what is that? I've never heard of a game having that sort of system. It's terrible. I played CSGO and I prefer that system over this. Like, it makes no fucking sense. And then this is a side note, but it is relation to competitive play and just in general, like the state of the game. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm having a lot of fun playing the game, right? I make content for it every day, and I'm enjoying myself. But at some point, you need to understand, like, the game's been out for a month and new game, ooh type of stuff. Like, we need to start getting a good game. You need to start actually creating stuff that's going to make people want to fucking play the game, want to play comp, want to get better, want to actually and all this sort of thing, unless you don't want that to happen. But the way you're patching and nerfing characters makes no sense. Sojourn is one of the most broken characters in the game, and has been since her release, and continues to, even with this change that you did to her, right? If anything, you made her even more broken across the entire board. She's still broken in high elo now, and now she's even better in lower ranks because they have a higher margin of error with her railgun, right? Because she can get it faster, and it does more damage consistently throughout the board. So worse players will do better with her, and good players are already doing good with her and will continue to do good with her, right? And then you're nerfing characters like Genji, and the reason you're nerfing characters like Genji is because he was doing too well with the passive that you gave DPSs, but then you changed one of the passives that was making Genji very strong, but then don't change Genji back. And then you announced 2 new characters, right? Kiriko, who you say is going to be a DPS support, but is used as a heal bot to ultimate because her ultimate is broken. And her abilities are obviously good. The TP to heal and the little grenade, the Suzu, whatever you want to call, is good as well, right? But her most broken skill is her ultimate, so they're just heal botting and constantly ulting, right? Because it's her most consistent thing, because like the damage is pretty inconsistent at range because it's a projectile, right? And then you say you're going to make a tempo tank that in practice of competitive play is literally being used as just like a meat shield, and he's not doing anything sort of tempo-y at all. Like, you switch to Nemesis form and you kind of just block damage. And then you got characters like Roadhog, who right now is like the best tank in the game, completely destroying top tier meta and isn't getting nerfed, even though he can hook combo any character 250 HP or lower. And you have characters like Reinhardt, who in high elo is useless besides a handful of people, and isn't ever going to get a buff because he's dominant in low elo play, because people just monkey Oonga Boonga swing the hammer and he doesn't require skill, so of course he's going to be dominant in bronze and silver. But when it comes to an elo where people actually know how to aim a fucking gun and shoot people in the head, he's dog shit. And it's a really big disconnect, and I don't know what you need to do to fix it, but I'm telling you, like, as someone who plays the game every single day to make videos on YouTube, and when I'm not making videos, I'm still playing the game because I want to improve, I want to get better, I want to make better videos, right? I want to give you guys entertaining content. It's getting to the point where, like, the game is getting hard play because of all these things. Like, I want to play with my friends, but I get in a game with my friend and there's the masters in my game, and my teammates are me and my friends, like, I'm playing on an off roll and my friends are in silver, and I'm like, what the fuck? Why is the rank system so fucked that we're playing with masters or against masters, and I am in like plat diamond on my main roll, but gold in my off rolls? My friends are in silver. I'm playing on the off roll, so it should be the off roll MMR. Why am I playing against a diamond in my off roll? Like, what? Like, or a master in my off roll? Like, what's going on, right? It's just like these like massive discrepancies. Where, like, why are these 2 ranks even remotely near each other? These 2 players. Like, they should never be put in a lobby together, and that's happened a lot. And they said they were fixing it, but it seems like it hasn't been fixed, or the issue is back. And it's just something that they need to fix, honestly. And don't get me started on the thing that people have recently been talking about in relation to counter picking, or how, like, they said that counter picking isn't a thing or a necessary thing in Overwatch, but then they implement a passive that gives you 30% of your ult. So, like, basically in the first team fight, let's say you come out as like d.va and they come out as, like, I don't know, Winston, right? And the Winston dies to the d.va, but before he gets 30%, so now he can go back to base and swap to Zarya and then come out and just win the next fight and never have lost any ult charge, right? But now let's say the d.va loses that secondary fight, and now she's at 60%, 70%, right? Or close to ultimate. So now she has to make the decision, do I give up my ult charge for the chance to counterpick him, or do I keep this ult charge and try to fight at a disadvantage because the ult might be useful enough to make the disadvantage, like, discrepancy worth it? God forbid you're on a push map, right, with the mechs, where if you lose 2 fights back to back, you're at a massive discrepancy because of the way snowballing works. And now that Zarya is at 70% ult, so if you switch, Zarya's gonna have ult before you, and then if you don't switch, like, you might both get ult at the same time, but she's at a more advantageous state because she's a counter to your character directly. So, like, you're making these decisions that you need to make, and it's just like so bad, right? And it's just like, why is this even an option? Why is there an option to give someone 30% of their ult and now make the team that has lost have the free swap to counter pick without losing anything, right? And then again, in relation to push maps, that whole mode, even though, like, At the beginning of the season, I really liked it, but then when I saw the math, it's literally unplayable. Like it's so in the advantage of the person who wins the first fight. It's insane because there's never been a mode where you spend 15, 20, 30, 40 seconds and never get some sort of advantage depending on how far the mech has been pushed one way or the other. So to win in that mode, you need to win potentially 2 to 3 fights depending on how far the push has been made to get your character even to where theirs is to then start taking the lead. It's crazy, right? And there's just like small things like that where like that mode needs to be completely reworked to a way that doesn't have this massive imbalance or discrepancy on both sides for the person who like wins the first fight, obviously, right? And then you have stuff like that where like the 30% ult charge where counter picking is such a massive thing and it's so free for the first team that loses, and then the other team has to like make a very tactical and difficult decision compared to the first team that might die that can just make an instant decision and just be like, yeah, I have less than 30%. At 31, 35%, whatever, I'll lose 5% to just guarantee the counter pick right now and win the next fight. And then they have to make a hard decision. All in all, I don't know if anyone at Blizzard is watching this or somehow it gets to the eyes of one of the developers or something. I just wanted to make this video to tell you guys how I feel about the current season, what their update is or what they said about their competitive play, and all this sort of stuff, and just give my opinion on everything because I do play this game every day and I do want to see this game be successful. And I just think that they're going down a line where maybe it's not so successful for like the competitive integrity of the game, but it feels like they're creating a system where there's a lot of people, like a lot of casuals enjoying the game, and that might be what they're catering the game for at this point. And they're just giving up on like high level competitive play, and they're just like, well, we want the casuals to have a good time, so we're giving them like cool battle pass skins and all this stuff and updated events and PvE, which I'm super hyped for the PvE, guys, don't get me wrong, I really want to play it. But they're just like, we're not going to worry about the pros or what is like high elo, like, you know, flat, diamond, or diamond, masters, GM, top 500, and what's affecting them. We're going to fix the game for the majority of the player base, and if they are enjoying something that might be broken, we're not going to change it, because the people who are spending a ton of fucking money on our game obviously like it, and it's fine for them, so we're just going to leave it like that, right? And that's kind of like what it feels like, you know? And it just kind of feels like a slap to the face to people who, like, for people like me, who invest a lot of my time and my content and effort into wanting the game to be good and displaying the game to my viewers. You know, other streamers like Flat, Seagull, Jay, and all these other people that like I watch constantly and are on the game for like 12 hours a day as well. But I don't want to be rambling for 20 fucking minutes. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Again, let me know if you guys like this type of content. I'm going to try to, like I said, sprinkle this type of content in along with my funny gameplay commentary type montage videos. And I'll see you guys in the next one.
Ride with me if you ride with me, you can slide with me if you feel like 550 on the 5 sticky, come get high with me, that's a deal, right? Ride with me if you ride with me, you can slide with me.